What's up, guys? Welcome to Catch Connor. I am Connor. UFC 322 Fight Week is behind us. A card that was on paper, probably the best card of the year on paper. Certainly for hardcore fans, I think. Looking at that card before it happened, we were all just like, okay, two super fights. Islam Makhachev, number one pound for pound fighter in the world, moving up a division to fight the newly crowned welterweight champion. Another super fight in the co-main event, Valentina Shevchenko and Weili Zhang. And then the main card was absolutely stacked. And then, also some really good prelims sprinkled in there as well. I think for us hardcore fans, we were all kind of going into this one like, okay, this at least has the potential to be the best card of the year. Did it live up to the hype though? That's the question we're going to be answering in this video, as long as going through the main card and picking future matchups for the winners of the main card. Before we do that though, guys, make sure you subscribe to the channel, like the video, do all that fun shit. I'd appreciate it very much. Thank you. All right, let's get into the full video then here, guys. Of course, in your main event, one, John Pork defeated Dylan Dennis via security, or the help of security at least. I suppose I should put 30 Dagestans beat Dylan Dennis, and then security escorted him out for the main event here. I guess this should be considered the main card opener, though, considering that's exactly when this happened. I am just kidding, of course, but Dylan Dennis did take a massive L at UFC 322. What the fuck was up with his shoes, by the way? I don't know if he was wearing, like, Sonic shoes? Sonic the Hedgehog? Maybe Crash Bandicoot? Maybe Chuck E. Cheese? I can't believe this man actually left the house in that footwear and didn't expect to get jumped in the streets of New York or in the arena or whatever. I don't know what the fuck's up with this guy. Glad he was banned from all future UFC events. The less I have to hear about Dylan Dennis, the better. Into your actual main event then, guys. Islam Makhachev defeated Jack Della Maddalena via unanimous decision. And God, did he look dominant doing it. Islam kind of came out first round, started landing on calf kicks, and then it just became the grappling, the Dagestan grappling that Islam and his whole team is kind of known for here, that just completely took over this fight. Jack Della Maddalena never really in the fight to begin with. Didn't really land anything significant throughout the entire fight. Seemed to have no answers for the takedowns of Islam Makhachev or any answer to be able to get back to his feet. Did Jack Della Maddalena. Some great submission defense by Jack Della Maddalena. I mean, they were certainly prepared for that. Like, they were definitely, it just seems like, looking back on it now, Jack was just there trying not to lose, but not trying to win. That's kind of what I walk away from this one with is Jack really had no way to win this fight. He was just trying not to get finished the entire time, and that's really what it seemed like. It's we're gonna get into whether this fight is considered boring or just overly dominant by Islam Makhachev, but those opinions aside, it's you got to be impressed by what Islam was just able to do. I mean, really, it's just like you could consider every round a 10-8 round if you really wanted to. I know they were all considered 10-9s, but like JDM really put up no fight really anywhere throughout the 25 minutes of this whole fight, and just seemed completely broken by the end of the fight. It just seemed like he had no answers. His corner was giving him no answers. That was one thing that was kind of pissing me off, is his corner's just kind of telling him to go, to get angry, to start putting on pressure and start throwing combos and all that. They really were giving him no technical advice. Like, and that's one thing that kind of bothers me in this sport sometimes, is like, okay, and maybe, certainly the coaches know their guy best than Jack Della, but I feel like at a certain point, man, it's just like, okay, let's give him some techniques that could at least get him in a position to where he could start potentially winning a round here or something of the sort. Because there were just no answers to anything Islam Makhachev had. Like I was saying, Islam had a really good calf kick, but other than that, it was pretty much just dominance throughout the grappling with throughout the entire 25 minutes, and that was pretty much the story of the fight. Now let's get into the question here: is what Islam did considered dominant, or is it considered boring? And I think the answer to that is simply just both. It can be both at the same time. I think while it was extremely impressive how Islam was able to control JDM, you have to walk away from this fight thinking that was a fairly unentertaining fight, a fairly boring performance put on. And we'll get into the co-main event as well here in a little bit, which was also another fairly boring fight. And I you got to start asking yourself, when does this become a problem for the UFC? You know, we also had Hamza Chimaev earlier this year back at UFC 319 put on a very similar type of performance against Drake Duplessis, and in which he just controlled him outright with grappling throughout the entire fight. And I think we all left with the same feeling after that card, is like, impressed by the dominance, but still I'm unentertained. I didn't feel like I got my money's worth on that card. Uh, I don't think this is a problem for the UFC as of yet. It's a similar case with Islam of how I feel about Hamzat, actually, is that I don't think you can consider either of these guys to be boring fighters as of yet. You know, Islam Makhachev was coming off three finishes before this fight with Jack Della. He finished Renato Moicano in the first round. He had a fight of the year contender with Dustin Poirier, in which he finished him in the fifth round. And before that, he had a fight of the year contender with Alexander Volkanovski, and was also coming off a head kick KO over Alexander Volkanovski. So you see what I mean? It's like I can't sit here and call Islam Makhachev a boring fighter, but that was a boring performance. That was not something that's going to win over a lot of fans and kind of turn a lot of people onto this sport. Is when you put on fights like Islam had with JDM, it just isn't. It's just not entertaining. It's not what the people want to see. We want to see finishes. I think people kind of overstate how uninterested MMA fans are in grappling. I think we are interested in grappling. I think we enjoy watching grappling, but you have to make it an exciting performance with the grappling, which is very possible. I mean, we've seen both Islam and Hamzat do those things. So I don't necessarily take this as like, oh, MMA fans just want to see people strike. That's not really the case. We just want to see entertaining grappling. We want to see you going for submissions, which Islam was, to be fair. You know, Islam, to be fair, put on a more exciting fight than Hamzat did against DDP. Islam was looking for submissions the entire time. Like I was saying, though, Jack was just very well trained in his submission defense, knew how to get out a lot of those positions. And I said that going in, it's Jack Della had very underrated submission defense and is very good at scrambling out of those kinds of positions. And he did exactly what I thought he was going to do heading into the fight. So yeah, I don't think this is a problem for the UFC yet. I mean, I also think people look back at the UFC's past with a bit of rose-tinted glasses. When I was getting into the sport, Georges St-Pierre was the welterweight champion, and that guy put on boring performance after boring performance, in my opinion. I started watching around UFC 100. From that fight on, I mean, the Thiago Alves fight on UFC 100, it's considered a boring fight. You continue on after that, the title defenses against Stan Hardy, Jake Shields, Josh Koscheck. A lot of those fights, all those fights I just named, are considered boring performances. They were considered, or at the time, in my opinion at least, those were considered worse performances and more boring performances, unentertaining performances than what Islam had against JDM on Saturday night. So, and now we look at Georges St-Pierre, right? Like, they put the camera on him on Saturday, and everyone starts cheering. That's just kind of how this sport goes. You know, we kind of tend to forget what actually happened in those fights and just kind of look at your record when all is said and done. And if we look at Islam's record, I mean, it's top three in the sport, really. I mean, 16 wins in a row now in the UFC, tying Anderson Silva's record for the most wins for the most single win streak in the UFC. I mean, it's supremely impressive what Islam's been able to do. So, to answer the question fully, I think yes, Islam was very dominant. Yes, the fight was very boring, but I don't think we are at a point where we can be considering Islam Makhachev to be a boring fighter as of yet. If this happens again, then we kind of have to start asking, you know, if it happens again and another time and a third time. But more often than not, at this high level and at the elite level, Islam has been very entertaining. So, yeah, I'm not calling him boring as of yet, but let's hope it doesn't keep up. And particularly going into this Paramount era for the UFC, where more eyeballs are probably going to be on the sport than ever. I think it's really going to be important that we match Islam up with the best chance of that not happening again. You know, I think we need to put guys in there that are going to be able to meet Islam in the grappling realm, that are going to be able to give Islam problems with their size, especially now that it's at welterweight. and guys that are going to match up for an exciting fight with Islam Makhachev. I think it's very important that the UFC picks well of who his first title defense is going to be, because there's going to be more eyeballs on him than ever. Which is why I am suggesting one, Shavkat Rakhmonov. Islam Makhachev or Shavkat Rakhmonov is the fight I'm suggesting for Islam's first title defense. I get it. Shavkat hasn't fought in a year now, going to be over a year by the time he's actually scheduled for his next fight. And there's probably guys that are maybe a bit more deserving than Shavkat Rakhmonov. Although I will say, if Ian Gary is successful in defeating Bilal Muhammad next weekend, Shavkat Rakhmonov is still the number one contender in my opinion. If Ian is successful, because his last win is against Ian, and I still think that has to count for something, even though it was a year ago. And really, a year isn't even that long in MMA terms. We've seen much longer layoffs and guys that have been out and held their spot for much longer than a year. If he's gonna be out until like the summer or whatever, Shavkat, yeah, fuck him. Like, pass him up. Get someone else in there. But I still feel like Shavkat earned his title shot, and if he's there and he's ready to go, I feel like we throw it to him. Because, like I said, if Ian's successful next weekend, he's got a win over Ian not that long ago. Kamaru Usman seems to be the main one being thrown around right now. I'd have a big problem with that. I mean, Kamaru Usman only coming off that one win over Rocky Buckley. Doesn't really make a whole lot of sense right now. 3-fight losing streak before that. Granted, one was to the middleweight champion, now middleweight champion, and then 2 losses to Leon Edwards. I feel like Kamaru Usman needs at least one more win before we start talking about title shots again for him. Mike Morales would probably be the one that's next up. Then we'll get into what I think is next for him later in the video. But I do think he's still a little bit of ways behind at the moment, although he does have the most impressive win currently at this moment over Sean Brady. So those are kind of the options right now. I feel like Carlos Prates isn't quite there yet with that loss to Ian Gary from only like 5-6 months ago. And then there's a couple guys sitting outside that top 5, top 6 area that wouldn't quite be worthy yet. So I'm going Shavkat. I think give it to Shavkat. This will be an entertaining fight. This is someone that can meet Islam in the grappling realm. Has that sort of skill set. He's tall, he's lanky, he's going to be the biggest guy Islam has ever fought. He's going to give him a lot of problems. Great striker as well. This is the fight I want to see. If Islam can defeat Shavkat Rakhmonov, I really don't see anyone being able to touch him at 170 at the moment, at least. In your co-main event, let's move on then. Valentina Shevchenko defeated Weili Zhang via unanimous decision. Now, with this one, I do feel like it is more of a problem that Valentina put on such an unentertaining performance. Of course, fighting Weili Zhang, one of the other best women fighters in the world. And so she kind of just did what she had to do to win and secure the win, really took no risks at all throughout the entire fight. But at this point with Valentina Shevchenko, unlike Islam Makhachev, I do feel like we can call Valentina a pretty boring fighter, at least at this elite level. When she fights guys outside of this elite level, you know, she fights women that aren't the best women in the world, she absolutely destroys them in a very entertaining fashion. We saw that with Jessica Ai. And some other fights before she was fighting for the belt at flyweight. Even when she fought some guys some girls up at bantamweight, we saw some absolutely incredible finishes from her. But for the most part, I feel like Valentina isn't a fighter that takes a whole lot of risks, and that's okay. She kind of is what she is at this point. I think we all kind of know what we're expecting with Valentina Shevchenko when she comes to fight. You're really going to have to put a girl in there that's going to be able to really challenge her to make it an entertaining fight, like Alexa Grasso was able to do, right? Like that first fight with Alexa Grasso and Valentina Shevchenko was fantastic. The second fight's fantastic as well. And then by the time the third fight rolled around, Shevchenko kind of figured out her path to victory. And she's kind of just been doing that same type of performance ever since with Manera Finero and now Weili Zhang. Again, much like Islam, very impressive, but I am left very unentertained. And that's just kind of what we get with Valentina Shevchenko. She's just going to kind of keep doing this for however long she can at this point. She's a fighter's fighter. She's just going to keep going. And if we leave her at flyweight, if she just stays and keeps defending the belt at flyweight, we're probably just going to get more and more of these types of performances. So the question really becomes for Valentina: how long does she want to keep doing this? Does she want to keep going for super long here? 38 years old now, I believe. So time's ticking. If I'm Valentina, I'm suggesting you just go up and you fight the winner of Kayla Harrison and Amanda Nunes. Go get your bag. I would do this as your retirement fight if I'm Valentina Shevchenko. What else is there to really do? Like, I know there's Natalia Silva down at flyweight right now, but there's always going to be a Natalia Silva. There's always going to be another contender on the come up that is looking to take your spot. And eventually, like Alexa Grasso was able to do, one of those is going to beat her. So it's like she can just keep racking off title defenses, or she can move up, do one last big super fight, get paid more money than she's ever gotten paid before, and call it a career after this, And if she's able to win this against the winner of Kayla Harrison and Amanda Nunes, if she's able to beat the winner of that, I mean, she's the greatest women's fighter of all time. It would truly be a fight for the greatest of all time in women's MMA. And that sounds exciting to me. I feel like both those girls, too, Amanda Nunes and Kayla Harrison, would put on a good performance against Valentina. Although, granted, we have seen the Amanda Nunes fights twice, and they weren't the most exciting performances. They weren't the most exciting fights, but certainly with Kayla Harrison, you got to imagine with how aggressive she is. If she's able to get past Amanda Nunes, her and Valentina would definitely be exciting. So that's what I would suggest for Valentina Shevchenko. Do one more fight against the winner of this, then call it a career. It's an incredible career. She's at worst the third best women's MMA fighter of all time, which is not too shabby. And then I would also suggest Natalia Silva versus Erin Blanchfield for the vacant flyweight title. Erin Blanchfield coming off that win over Tracy Cortez from this weekend's card, when she looked awful in that fight, actually, in the first round. Tracy Cortez was, I thought, looking very good and kind of dominating Blanchfield, but then she slowed down and turned around entirely in the second round, and Blanchfield was able to choke her out in the second. And for that, I think she's kind of earned a title fight. You got Manon Ferrod out there as well, who could also fight for a vacant belt. So either one of those against Natalia Silva, I wouldn't mind either. In your people's main event, Mike Morales defeated Sean Brady via TKO round one. Mike Morales, man, I mean, what is there to say about this guy? He is supremely impressive. Probably the most impressive performance of the night, in my opinion, other than Islam, I guess. But Mike Morales, man, I think pretty big underdog. I think he was like a plus 170 heading into this, and just went out there and completely starched Sean Brady. He looked about 2 weight classes bigger than Sean Brady, and was able to go out there and really use his reach and his power in his hands. And Sean Brady had no answers for him. I think he attempted maybe one takedown there, and wasn't enough to get anywhere close to Mike Morales. So what do you do with this kid? I mean, 26 years old, massive welterweight, it has huge power in his hands, apparently has fairly good grappling, trains with Bilal Muhammad and some other guys at a different team as well. And, I guess we haven't seen his grappling quite yet, but claims to have very high level grappling at the very least. So very exciting. Probably the most exciting guy in this welterweight division right now is Michael Morales. At least the one we're most excited about, as he's new, he's young, he's fresh, and going to be very exciting to see him fight this upper echelon of welterweights. For Mike Morales, I'm going to suggest Kamaru Usman. I'm hoping Kamaru Usman doesn't end up getting the title fight with Islam Makhachev. And I feel like setting up Mike Morales versus Kamaru Usman is kind of the right move here. For Kamaru Usman, I think it makes a lot of sense. Maybe it doesn't if you're his management, because it's a very dangerous fight and it's a very difficult fight for Kamaru Usman. But I feel like if you get the win here, then there's no denying for a title fight. With his record, his pedigree at this welterweight division, and being able to put down someone like Mike Morales, a young, big up and comer, then I would really get behind Kamaru Usman as a title fight, or the next title shot after Shavkat, that is. For Mike Morales, I mean, this would just be having the greatest welterweight available in the UFC right now. He's probably, Kamaru Usman's the second greatest welterweight of all time behind George St. Pierre. Having a name like that on your record, especially before he gets out of the sport. I mean, Kamaru Usman probably only has 2, maybe 3 fights left in the UFC, and to be one of the last ones and get him on your record before he's officially retired. I think that would be a big deal for Mike Morales, and I don't know if this would be a clear number one contender fight just because there's such a logjam right now at the top of welterweight, but it would certainly put the winner of this in a great position. I mean, Kamaru, you got to imagine if he won this, he wouldn't fight again. There's no way he would fight again. He wouldn't be signing a contract for anyone other than a title fight. Mike Morales might, but just because he's got so much time on his hands, he's so young. He's the youngest guy in this top five right now. So we will see what happens to the winner of this if they do set this one up. In your next fight, Carlos Prates defeated Leon Edwards via KO round 2. Love this one. As someone that is not a big Leon Edwards fan, I was very happy seeing this. Leon Edwards first round uses his grappling quite a bit, which I think a lot of high level fighters were predicting Leon Edwards was going to end up doing. Ends up taking the back in the first and kind of just controls Carlos Prates with the grappling. Comes out in the second round, tries to do it again, and seems like Carlos kind of has his rhythm and his timing a little bit better now, where his shots are going to land, and he ends up landing a beautiful shot and knocks Leon Edwards clean out, follows up with a brutal ground and pound shot, in which had Leon knocked out and smiling. It was a very weird facial expression from Leon there. I don't know why he was so happy about getting knocked out. He's smiling more than I was. But yeah, you got to feel good for Carlos Prates here. I mean, this guy has cemented himself as the hardest hitter in this welterweight division. Got to be. Not a lot of guys come along that can crack like him. I mean, last guy in the welterweight division that could probably crack like this is like, I don't know, Johnny Hendricks, I guess. Anthony Johnson when he was a welterweight. I think of other heavy hitters at welterweight. There's been a lot of them, but Carlos Prates might just hit harder than any welterweight ever has. Huge, massive welterweight, so you kind of expect him to carry a lot of power in his hands, and he sure as shit does. For Carlos Prates next, I'm going to suggest Jack Della Maddalena. I like this fight. I like this fight quite a bit. If I'm Carlos Prates, I tell my management to keep me the fuck away from grapplers and just give me someone that's going to strike with me, because more than likely Carlos Prates is going to fucking spark you if you sit there and strike with him. So give him Jack Della Maddalena. Jack Della will be ranked like number 1 still, probably, in the official UFC rankings. So that'll be a very good step up for Carlos Prates. You can't really start talking about Carlos Prates' title shot yet, in my opinion, just because of that loss to Ian Gary. But shit, man, he gets one more emphatic knockout like that. And yeah, you're going to have to. This is what I'm saying. There's such a logjam right now at welterweights. Let's hope Islam is active here as this UFC welterweight champion. No matter who gets the next title shot there, let's just hope it's quick. Like, if I'm Islam, I'm fighting every 3-4 months until I'm retired here, or at least hopefully. I mean, maybe that's just a fan perspective talking, but that's what I would like to see, because there's so many guys that could be deserving of a title shot. In your opening, in your main card, Benoit Saint Denis defeated Beneil Dariush via KO round 1. Not expecting this. I was picking Benny Dariush coming in here, and BSD said nope and knocked him out in a matter of 16 seconds. Looked damn impressive doing it. Kind of got stuck in the clinch there a little bit, and BSD lands a brutal left hook. Beneil Dariush ends up doing a faceplant of some sort, and BSD follows up with a little bit of ground and pound, and that was that. For Benoit Saint Denis next, I'm going to suggest Justin Gaethje. I seriously doubt Justin Gaethje is going to take this fight. He seems to be calling a title shot or bust, or Justin Gaethje saying he's going to retire if he doesn't get the next title shot. I would hope he's not serious about that, and I feel like if he just fought one more fight, he would easily secure his a spot for the title, and or the next fight for the title. And I feel like BSD would be a pretty good matchup for Justin Gaethje. I mean, it's a good matchup, by the way. It's a 50-50 fight, in my opinion. So, and how exciting would that be? I mean, that's a fight of the year contender written all over it. So let's hope they set this one up. I don't know if Justin will actually accept it, but that's the one I'm predicting next for BSD, and the one I'm pushing for if I'm his management. Here goes a look at the rest of the card. Shout out to Bo Nickel, of course, for that massive head kick. Robocrop, Gregory Rodriguez, impressive win for him. Some other good ones on the card as well. Kyle Dawkins defeating Jared Marshart. That was very impressive. Did that very quick. And yeah, okay, great prelims. It really was a great card. And that head kick by Bo Nickel, man. I mean, Jesus, that's going to be a highlight reel for the ages for him. Good for him. the American wrestler getting a big head kick KO. Extremely impressive. What do we want to rank this card next, guys, for a post-fight rating? Good card. Could have been better if the momentum would have continued after the Michael Morales-Sean Brady fight and led to, if Weili and Valentina and Islam and JDM were more exciting, this would have been card of the year. Unfortunately, they were not all that great. So I'm going to give this card an 8.1. UFC 322, 8.1. Kind of filled out my whole card list here. So going to have to make some more spots. I believe we have 3 cards left for the rest of the year. And that's going to do it for the video then, guys. Please remember to subscribe, like the video, all that. Make sure to check out my preview for UFC Qatar, which will be next weekend. Dan Hooker versus Arman Tsarukyan. Can't wait for that fight. I'll see you in the next one, guys.